And welcome everyone to Return of the Living Podcast. We're your host. I'm Jared Hell.
And I'm Brad Bamforth.
And I'm Larry.
Yay.
Larry! And we're here today to talk to you
Corey's still not with us.
about drugs. Corey is still not with us. He's not here.
He's still wrestling.
Empty chair. He's been wrestling, working on his Guinness record for the world's longest wrestling match.
So, to match his Ecuadorian heavyweight championship.
Yeah, him and Skeeter Jackson have been going at it for how many hours is in a week?
A lot.
A lot of hours now. It's biblical how long they've been wrestling.
It's about to get real.
It's
been getting real.
It has been. There was, I shit you not, a 12-hour headlock.
And nobody passed out.
There's nobody's passed
It was
out.
amazing.
Skeeter Jackson tried really hard to get out of that headlock by doing the old stick your finger in your butt and shove it in good old the Boondock Taint's face.
The 3-hour
Didn't phase him.
The Taint wasn't having it.
The
Did not
3-hour
work.
Hurricane Rana.
He just let it rest on his mustache like a dirty Hitler. All right. I like building up Corey's legend. So today's episode, we're going to talk about
Television shows.
some fun shows that are supernatural-esque and fun to watch.
One being Supernatural.
One being Supernatural and one being the new Sleepy Hollow, which is doing way better than I thought it would when I watched the first season.
Had to move my mic.
So, what do you guys want to start off with?
I was going to ask you the same question.
I want to start off on Supernatural because I'm kind of hyped about it right now.
Supernatural.
I had no idea. Go ahead.
Google Supernatural with caution. There's like a weird Tumblr faction of girls that dream about these brothers like boning each other. It's super weird.
Well, it is sort
the
of
same
implied.
thing happened with Thor and Loki, and it just never.
Yeah. You have to safe search on when you Google Supernatural.
It is sort of the underlying theme of Supernatural is their unnatural brotherly love.
I mean,
You're stretching it, Brad. You're stretching it.
I'm just
I
joking.
can't. This show catches my interest and loses it just as fast. I'll be honest.
Well, the reason I'm into it so much is I just started it, and I didn't realize that this show's been around. This is like their 10th season.
Yeah, it came out in 2004.
Yeah, I had no idea that the show even existed until a couple months ago.
My parents are super into it. That's kind of a turnoff too.
Yeah, that'll happen. But I just got started on it, so I'm not even all the way through season 1. I think I've got like one episode left maybe, and I'm hooked. I'm psyched about it.
I think I have a feeling I'm going to end up ruining it for you.
Not really.
But no, go ahead. I don't know.
I mean,
do it later.
I'm just really hyped about it because I've just started it, and there's a lot of like loyal, diehard fans, and now I start seeing people that have like Supernatural shirts and stickers on their car. I'm starting to recognize like that pentagram symbol that they use in their merch. I start seeing it on cars, and now I know what it is, and I realize that I'm just way late on the boat for this show, but I'm digging it so far. Everybody warned me that it was kind of girly, and there was a lot of like dumb stuff, but so far, it's been a hell ride. They've just been killing bad things. I mean, I don't really get it. There is some of the brotherly stuff, but there's like, in the first season, the girlfriend dies and the mom dies, and they touch on it here and there, but it's like, oh, he feels that sort of way because his girlfriend was just killed in front of his eyes by this thing. That's why he's so enraged. And that's really about
the yellow-eyed demon.
Yeah. And that's more of like an implied thing that you just assume, oh yeah, I remember that thing that happened and that's why he feels this way right now, more so than they don't really draw it out in the storyline so far. So I'm cool with it.
I feel like Dean's there for the badass soundtrack. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite part of the whole show. It's just like fucking Motorhead. And you're like, they would never do this in any other TV show ever.
Yeah.
Fun fact, in every episode, their car is wet. It rains every episode on their car. Whether you see the rain or not, their car always has water on it. For whatever reason.
It's one wet and wild ride.
Yeah, apparently.
That's really bizarre.
That's the really old man fun facts that I come up with.
Dude, what's the actor's name that plays their dad?
Oh, It's a good question. He was on Grey's Anatomy.
He's a super good actor.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen The Losers?
No.
He's like one of the main characters in The Losers. Great film. Chris Evans is in it before, like, that was like the only other movie I'd seen him in besides not another teen movie. But check out The Losers if you haven't seen it. Good movie. Based on a comic that's pretty solid. But anywho, Supernatural. It's an alright show. It loses my interest real fast. Probably because the episodes are too long. I feel like if they were half-hour episodes, I'd be more stoked on it.
Well, what gets me is a lot of times when I watch a show like that, or any show that's without commercials, is like 45 minutes or whatever that is an hour show normally. There's like so much going on, and then finally by the time you get to the end of the episode, you're like, damn, that was a long episode. Well, with them, it always gets to the climax before the actual end of the episode, and I'm like, all right, that was a good episode, and then it like fades back out of black, and there's 10 more minutes of dumb shit, and I feel like it could be a shorter show, and they would be fine. But there, every now and again, I see an episode that it's like, okay, finale, and then boop, it's done.
I haven't hit a two-parter yet.
Yeah,
I'm not ready for that.
I don't think I have.
Are there any two-parters?
There are.
God damn.
Fuck.
There will be when they face the Green Eye Demon, but like I'm not that far ahead, so don't you fuck this up.
I have no. I've only watched parts of the first season, if I'm being honest, but that's because it literally can't keep my interest. I'm so far behind. The task of watching Supernatural seems so daunting.
Yeah,
and like
I really 10 fucking seasons.
I really feel like I should just jump in the middle somewhere and not worry about the past, because I feel like it really is the way they do it episodically. Mm-hmm. I feel like they do it in a way where you really don't have to watch it from start to finish.
You can pick up in the middle of a season, or not the middle of a season, but at the beginning of a season in the middle, and you'd probably be okay.
Or you can catch it on TV most of the time and know what's going on.
Well,
they're pretty good about recapping things.
I like that show. I've seen every episode. I'm up to date on Supernatural. And it was one of those where I watched it when it first came on for the first season, and I stopped watching it. And then when they put the entire collection up on Netflix,
oh yeah,
I just watched it.
That's what I did with Walking Dead.
And
same thing.
I like it, and this is where I think I might ruin it for you. It's a show that, as it gets going, starts to kind of poke fun at itself, and I kind of like that. You know, you'll have episodes where their life's a sitcom or a game show, and it's so bizarre and ridiculous, but at the same time, they start having a whole lot more fun on the show.
They done a musical episode yet?
Their season premiere this year was, I wouldn't call it a musical, but it had
Buffy.
But it had some numbers. It had some songs in it.
Numbers. How old are you?
But I mean, it's one of those.
Enough.
It's one of those shows that they understand that as the show gets going, the premise is so far fetched and out there that they are not afraid to make fun of themselves and have a laugh at themselves, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. That wouldn't ruin it for me. I enjoy that whenever they can kind of poke fun at themselves. I enjoy William Shatner just because he's kind of a mockery of himself.
Is that a record for anything yet? 10 seasons? I feel like the more I think about that.
No.
Simpsons is what?
I've been watching Bones and it's still on. And
did Simpsons beat... I thought Doctor Who was like the longest running...
But Simpsons has been continual.
Has Simpsons beat Doctor Who? I guess probably.
But
fuck the Simpsons. Sorry.
Supernatural gets
probably gonna get hate for that, but whatever.
Fuck what?
The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I don't like the Simpsons.
Me neither. Supernatural starts to get really, really good.
Fuck you, Simpsons fans. Just kidding.
Supernatural gets really good about the time they start introducing angels into the show, because that. You know, the first couple of seasons where they have angels, it is the angels are pretty hardcore, and then
Castiel is an angel.
Castiel is there. He's sort of, at first you can't trust him.
Yeah.
But then he kind of starts helping them out. But then the little guy from Revenge of the Nerds, what's his name?
I know who you're talking about.
Oh crap! What is his name in Revenge of the Nerds? Anyway, he's in it in the later seasons, and he becomes God at one point.
Booger, yeah. Is it Booger?
Yes,
he's God.
He becomes God at one point.
Oh my god!
Is it Booger? Are you sure?
Yes,
like
I'm pretty sure.
King of the Nerds, like that guy.
Yes, I believe so.
Booger.
Yeah.
Will you IMDb this here in front of a computer? I don't want to get my hopes up for nothing right now.
It's The Simpsons, 1989 to present.
Fuck my life.
That means Maggie is almost as old as I am and still sucking on a pacifier.
Keep talking, please.
The Simpsons are so not funny. I don't understand why they have a fan base still.
I don't. You know, have you ever gone back and watched the original episodes?
They're so
the
bad.
first season. They're very serious, and Homer's a very loving, doting father. And then there's always like a moral to the story at the end. It's rough, and the animation is rough as well. But I watched a few of them because it was season 1, and I was like, oh yeah, I've probably never seen these before. I haven't, and they're fucking awful. Like, let's start at 5.
You've never seen it.
To say, I can confirm that Booger from Revenge of the Nerds turns into God at one point on Supernatural.
That's awesome.
He plays an angel named Metatron, who
Supernatural. You and me are about to have a love affair.
Metatron.
I like that. He plays an angel named Metatron, who was God's scribe. At the beginning, the beginning of time or whatever, he wrote everything down for God that God wanted written down, and then God disappeared, and Metatron went into hiding, and he just loves stories. But then when he finds out other angels are now walking the earth, he has a plan to shut heaven down and take control, and he turns into a bad guy, which is kind of cool.
I'll have to check it out.
Jared's looking at me like,
I'll just have to keep watching.
It's Booger. Does Ogre come in later on and he's like fucking like the Archangel, and he's just like, nerds, fucking Viking helmet.
He was
I hope so.
He was on Supernatural from 2013 to this year, 2015. So
wow.
So we got quite a few years of Booger tearing shit up to look forward to.
Yeah.
One thing I have to bitch about the show, and not everybody will probably remember this, but the first season, that haunted truck, that big ass black truck.
I hate those horror movies that are just like haunted cars.
But that really pissed me off, because if you listen to the way the sound or the truck sounds, it's probably a supercharged diesel. It's the only way it could really sound like that. And that kind of technology, like that style of supercharger, may have existed back then, but it would have been insanely expensive to do. I mean, that's like top tier race stuff. That was a farmer's truck.
It is embellishment a little bit.
A little.
Yeah, I mean, it has to.
That kind of technology did not exist to make that sound. It's a very specific whining sound.
Could you imagine a truck being haunted that sounded like a go-kart?
Well, no, but it could have had just loud, gnarly pipes on it. I would have been like, yeah, because it's American muscle. It had to probably have a 454 big block in it or something. And I'd be like, yeah, that's tits. It didn't have forced induction. And that just completely ruined it for me. And then the second thing is, this is something that's always bothered me, is when they do similar things that aren't similar, but I'll have to explain. When the dad shows up and he's got a truck that's pretty close to what that truck was, that really fucking bothered me. I don't know why they do that, but it's like when they introduce a new character that looks strikingly similar to another character that's either dead but isn't the same character. Now it's a completely different person, but they look very similar to somebody that's already been on the show. That fucking drives me up the wall.
That show's another series that's got some decent eye candy in there.
That is true.
Have you?
They kill them all.
You probably haven't met. Oh crap! What is her name on the show?
The art dealer.
No, the art dealer she's hot too.
I'm a fan.
There's crap.
Sam and Dean.
Yeah. Never mind.
Because some of the lady listeners would argue that they're eye candy.
That's true.
And they want them to pork each other in the bungholes.
That's
It's fucking weird, ladies. Stop
bunghole. I think we're old enough to say asshole.
But I'm old enough to remember bunghole.
I feel like you're very Tumblr cautious.
I used to have a Tumblr. I still have a Tumblr.
This is coming from a guy who says he uses Tumblr just for porn.
But
Black and white.
I know the thing is because I've obviously been there, but
it's just full of like feminazis now.
Yeah,
I feel like
I don't ever use it.
I know. I feel like sometimes when you say things, I feel like you've been around a feminazi a time or two in your life.
I've thrown down. I've fought the good fight on Tumblr before. It was cool.
I hate him. I'm the first one to pick that fight. As soon as one of them starts up, shouldn't you be barefoot in the kitchen, pregnant, and less fat?
Anybody? How far did anybody get into Lost? Did you guys probably didn't watch Lost.
I
shut
read
the
an
fuck
article
off of
earlier
Lost.
that somebody said that, I guess it's a claim that they don't know if it's true or not, but somebody on a
I saw that
podcast
same article. Yeah,
that knew somebody who wrote Lost, and when they were writing it, he's talked about a conversation he had with one of the writers that was just like, is there going to be a payoff? And the guy was like, fuck no. We just come up with the most fucked up stuff to put in this TV show, and there's never going to be a payoff. And I'm just like, probably 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that watched that show got fucking suckered in. And I'm glad to say I
really
was
enjoyed
not one of them.
I enjoyed that show, and I enjoyed the way it ended. But that's just me. Anyway, what I was gonna say is,
Didn't they all die?
yes,
Okay.
but they're one of the characters from Lost who's like this Messiah-like character that he's the reason everybody's there. He's
John Locke.
No. There's a guy named Jacob that he could leave the island, and he was an immortal being at one point, and he personally
did you watch?
Here, listen. No,
I've never watched maybe more than 2 episodes of
It's
Lost.
fine. This goes back to Supernatural, but he would go out and he would visit these people in their past and come in contact with them and mark them, and then they ended up in the island. But he was like this savior type character. But then I turn around because I finished Lost, and then I started Supernatural, and turned right around, he plays Satan. And I was like, it was such a dichotomy that I wasn't prepared for.
That's really funny.
There's a fanfic somewhere.
I'm sure.
Jared's
can't. All about that, isn't he?
Oh man, fanfics piss me off so much because every time I've ever seen one that I'm like, I kind of like this direction, the direction that this is heading, and then it just turns into a gay orgy. Every time
I used to have.
It always gets to that point. It's always the point of a fan fiction.
Me and my buddy JK were talking about. I was talking about how fanfics are for girls who think they're nerds to write porn. They're just an outlet for that. We call it Big Dick Iceman syndrome. There was one my buddy Jay read about Iceman that had a huge ice penis. Yeah, true story.
You'll as you get later in the seasons of Supernatural, they actually have
there's a Big Dick Iceman.
Well, they have a show that's just titled Fan Fiction, and it's exactly that. These high school girls are basically at one point in Supernatural,
and then a Wendigo's gonna bang me.
No,
and they have to fight the Wendigo.
No, at one point there's once they start introducing angels and you start meeting prophets, and there's one gentleman who doesn't know he's a prophet. He's just a novelist, and he's writing these novels, but it's the Supernatural timeline.
Oh yeah,
everything is exactly the way it happened, and these high school girls are in love with those books, so they make their own musical around that. And Sam and Dean, there's a goddess, an evil goddess that is capturing these high school girls, and so while they're singing about Sam and Dean show up and help them perform the musical while trying to save all their lives from this nasty Egyptian or Greek goddess.
Holy fuck! It's time for a break.
Not quite.
You gave me some with Booger as God, and then you just took it away.
But like I said, there's
the bread giveth and he taketh.
You kind of mentioned it. It holds your interest, and then it doesn't hold your interest. That's the way that show is. It has a lot of really good episodes, and then they'll throw one that is just like, really?
Here's Big Dick Iceman.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm the Iceman with a big dick.
Did you not like my comment earlier on the messages? Did you not understand what I was saying?
What message?
You said you were hang on, let me bring it back up.
Leaving my apartment.
Yeah, I said hurry up. The plant's gonna eat everyone.
Are you trying to say I look like Rick Moranis again?
It was a little Shop of Horrors reference. I got no validation for the funny joke, and then you said here, and I said it's singing show tunes. Hurry, and
I fight
nothing.
I fight the the Rick Moranis comments a lot. I don't understand. I don't get it.
I thought it was a pretty clever reference.
I had it the first time I'd ever heard it was my manager at Toys R Us when I worked at Toys R Us.
Trevor
Was like, "Don't get mad at me. How do you know the Trevor?
I'm friends with his family.
Crazy. Not Trevor. It was my other
Ouch.
manager, Matt, and he was like, he's like, don't get mad at me. You kind of look like Rick Moranis."
That's awesome.
And I was just like, you son of a bitch. But we used to have like we'd get nerd argument. He was one of those nerds that like didn't like Big Bang Theory because he found it offensive.
Really?
Yeah. One of those guys. Anywho, he was a good guy. I miss his little duckbill haircut.
I haven't seen him in a long, long time. Anyway, we'll go ahead and I guess we'll shelve the Supernatural talk for now. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about maybe what Corey calls Supernatural, basically a ripoff of Supernatural, and that is Sleepy Hollow.
Hey, I'm already offended.
Well, that's what he calls it. He says he says it's basically Supernatural.
And he's got Skeeter Jackson's turds on his mustache.
That's true.
Fuck you.
Did you read that on a flyer at Half Price Books? Is that where you got that opinion?
Me? What opinion?
That it's a ripoff of Supernatural?
Corey said
that's
that.
Corey.
Oh, that was Corey.
Corey
Okay.
said that.
See, take it back.
Well, then you're just dumb, Corey. And I don't take that back, Rick
Whatever.
Moranis.
Screw you.
We'll be back right after this.
All right. Welcome back, everyone.
I'm your host, Larry.
I think
This is smooth jazz with
yeah. But
Boondoctane.
we're gonna go ahead.
I was going to say the same thing you were going to say. So you go ahead.
I'll say we're gonna move.
Switch gears?
Yeah, switch gears. Move on from Supernatural to talk a new show that I mentioned. As I mentioned before, Corey is convinced is a ripoff of Supernatural, and that is Fox's Sleepy Hollow. And I know, Larry, you really wanted to talk about Sleepy Hollow. So why don't you start? What are your overall thoughts?
I'm actually not that far into Supernatural, Sleepy Hollow, but what I like about it is how much it ties. I've said this, I think, every episode since I've been on the show, but how it ties real life events into the storyline, and like Franklin with the key and the kite. I thought that was just brilliant. Some of the different things that they've tied into it, I think, are really
Boston
awesome.
Tea Party.
It really,
Yeah, the Boston Tea Party.
I honestly think it made a weak folklore something really fucking cool.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, very much so. I mean, I love that. Like the kite lightning strike was kind of dumb and lame. No matter how much your history teacher tried to like amp it up, it was dumb. But the way that they used it in the storyline and all that, I just love it. It really makes history more exciting. And what sucks is that it's like it's accurate to a degree by using these different events, but then it's totally inaccurate. You can't watch it and learn history, the right way or learn anything that's like really correct.
But if you know, I think it's made, those are Easter eggs, I guess, for people that do know history.
I like that. But I enjoy it. That's how it keeps my interest, is how it ties in different things like that. That's how it keeps me really watching and involved in the whole first. Was it just the first season they had the Headless Horseman? Is he like a recurring?
He is a recurring theme because he's one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
You're right. That's right.
Have you found out who he is yet?
The Headless Horseman?
Yes.
I know it's based around Ichabod, but no, he's still headless. So, I mean, they found.
I haven't even. I've been watching it in like out of order, kind of, because I'm not up to date on the new stuff. I just watch it when it's on TV and I'm home on those occurrences. So I don't even know. I'm curious. Can we like earmuffs? I want to know.
I can tell you if you want to know.
I do kind of want to know.
Okay,
All right,
so spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Have you guys seen the episode where he is at his friend's Abraham's house and
Lincoln?
no,
Just kidding.
and he's
Is it
That's
Booger?
way.
Katrina.
Is it Booger?
Yeah, Katrina, who is his Ichabod's
Wow.
wife,
Yeah.
is engaged to be Abraham,
Mm-hmm.
but she loves Ichabod,
Mhm.
and he finds out about it and is killed in a sword fight against Ichabod that Ichabod doesn't want to be a part of. They're on their way to deliver a message to the Continental Army, and they're talking about it. And while they're talking about it, it comes out that Ichabod is in love with Katrina. Katrina is in love with Ichabod, and they sword fight to the death. And then Hessian soldiers from the British side come and revive Abraham and make him the horseman of death. And that's why he hates Ichabod so much, is because it's basically a giant freaking love story.
Yeah.
Is what it
weird.
is.
One of my favorite things about Sleepy Hollow is the Austin Powers element. Like when there's a scene in the first season where he's in the car, and I can't remember her name, but the main cop character gets donuts, and he's like, how much? She's like, yeah, for like this amount of dollars. And he's just like, $5.
Yeah.
Like he just loses his shit. Like all of that kind of like stuff really cracks
It
me
is
up.
really fun to watch him try to figure out what's gone wrong with America in the 200 years since he's been underground.
Brad, you mentioned how fast he picked up on texting at one point.
What?
Was that you?
What's that?
You were talking about how fast he picked up texting.
Oh, yes.
You're like, in one episode, and he's like a master texter. I
Yeah.
get it.
Like the most recent episode I saw, he's like, they're talking serious stuff, and he's like using like 1800s curse words, getting beat to shit at Call of Duty, and he's just like, ah.
That's terrible.
It's so bad, but pretty. It's humorous. They do it well. It's in that hokey kind of way, or like that fucking episode where he shows up at the reenactment.
Oh, and that one that the actress falls in love with him because she doesn't realize who he is. She just thinks he's so incredibly dedicated to that time period that he lives it his entire life.
Oh yeah,
and the officer's name is Jennifer Mills, by the way.
That's it, dude. One of the things that I'm really like bummed out. I'm glad he shows up more, but the what's his name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Her mentor cop.
Oh, Clancy Brown?
Yes.
That dude is freaking in everything.
He was the bad guy from one of my favorite 80s movies ever, Highlander.
He was in Lost too, by the way.
Main bad dude from Highlander.
I remember that. Yeah.
If you haven't seen Highlander, you're missing out. I'm just throwing that out there. One of the best movies from...
Duncan MacLeod.
Yeah. No, it's Connor MacLeod in the movie.
No, that's true.
Get your shit
It was
together,
Christopher
Brad.
Lambert.
Yeah.
See, I
Good
do know my Highlander. But
Duncan MacLeod was better. Real talk.
That's true. It was.
Anywho, so
there's so much that I want to talk about with Sleepy Hollow, but I can't because I'll end up ruining it for both of you.
there's some cool stuff. It's one of those shows I have to watch in spurts. I can't marathon it because I feel like at a point it gets real daunting. But episodically, like watching it week to week is pretty solid. Like I can watch one a week. But when I tried to marathon it to catch up, it was kind of rough. But I really enjoyed it. I really like Ichabod's character, like, and just the whole premise of the story. And I really like some of the things, like my dad being a biker growing up, and bikers have this kind of like spiritual thing with the Indians.
Mm-hmm.
And so that tie-in to the show is always really cool for me.
Yeah.
Like, because Indians were a thing back then, they had to deal with. I don't.
They're in Salem too. Indians are.
Yeah.
So
Which that's always something that's really
Which
cool
that's
for
how
me
John-
to see.
What's the lead's name? I'm gonna brain fart in Salem.
I think it is John.
John. The hell's his last name?
Mathers?
No,
No,
that's
that's
the
Cotton
pre-
Mathers.
That's
Yeah.
Cotton Mathers. Anyhow, John. He gets captured as a soldier and lives with the Indians for a while, and they come back and save him.
Yeah, he's
some
like
point.
his friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
He becomes friends. He sides
That's why
with
he's
the
such a good
Indians.
tracker and all that.
But no, I'm excited for you to figure out. Have you met the Sin Eater yet on Sleepy Hollow? Did anybody ever watch Fringe when it was on Fox?
No, I did not watch Fringe.
Well,
That's his kid, right? Sorry, that's spoiler alert.
yes. Well,
Okay.
it turns out that yes, the old man from Fringe, the crazy scientist from Fringe, he's this thing in Sleepy Hollow called the Sin Eater, which is he has the ability to look into your soul and see every sin you've ever committed
Oh shit.
and absolve you of your sin by eating it. But there's
Like the monster tard from Green Mile,
Yeah.
kinda, yeah.
but with sin.
But there's a real big, not even more so than it being Ichabod's son. There's a much bigger twist on
He
that
is
character.
Ichabod.
He'd be burping a lot of bees if he tried to absolve
They
me.
fight club it. Did they fight club it?
No, it's not. It's not Fight Club.
He stabs himself through the jaw with a bayonet. Fucking
Bayonet.
By the way, I don't. This is random, but
while buildings are exploding in the
has
background.
Fight Club had like some sort of anniversary? Because in the last 2 weeks, I've seen so many of my friends posting about Fight Club on Facebook.
Fight Club.
I'm just curious.
I hate Fight Club.
In the last week, I've probably seen like 15, 20 articles or posts by people in my newsfeed.
people that are like
talking about
Fight Club's
Club.
my favorite movie are full of shit. They don't watch good movies. Fight Club's awful.
It's not
The
my
book
favorite
was
movie. but
fucking stupid.
It's.
Yeah.
I think I like.
People
I
are-
like the movie. It's not my favorite movie, but I like it.
It's
You know what's better
overrated.
than Fight Club? Snatch.
Snatch is so much better than Fight
If you want to
Club.
latch onto a movie, latch onto Snatch. Then just forget that Fight Club even happened because it's a fucking terrible movie. I get the premise. I get all of this. I get all of that. Go watch Snatch. It's a infinitely better film.
I don't know how those two are related in your brain, but Snatch is a much better film.
As far as favorite films.
Oh.
A lot of people that, if you ask me what my favorite film is on any given day, it's usually Snatch. So
Snatch is.
We've never talked about our favorite films. Let's take a moment because I'm curious now. So, Snatch, what's your favorite film ever
My favorite film of all time?
of all time?
Ooh, that's
Taking a break from Sleepy Hollow.
that's
first.
that's a good question.
Mine. While you're thinking, mine's High Fidelity. I'm a huge John Cusack fan.
really,
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know
Did
if you
not
guys
see
have
that
ever seen
coming.
High Fidelity.
I haven't.
You haven't?
If I have, I don't remember.
You should check it out. Like, find it somewhere and watch it. It's the shit that John Cusack's character says about women in that movie is just so completely true to me.
Mm-hmm.
It blew my mind. I've always latched onto it. I'm in a healthy, like, long relationship right now, so I don't watch it that often. Like, it's historically been like my once a year and or breakup movie.
Yeah.
But that's been my favorite movie ever. It's just a solid, funny film about a guy that owns a record store that's going through a tough breakup. And he's big on making lists of his top 5 favorite things or top 5 worst things.
Yeah.
And so he has the top 5 worst breakups of all time. And he calls them in order from 5 to 1. And, like, where are you now? And, like, the first girl he calls is, like, a girl he made out with on the bench, like in like 10th grade or whatever. And like he made out on the bench after school. And then the next day she was making out with some other kid. And so he like calls her and he's like, I was her first boyfriend. And she's like, no, she married Kevin. And he's like, makes out with me on the bench, makes out with Kevin on the bench, marries Kevin. Like, he's like, I am fine now. Like, just totally, it's like, I should have done this earlier. It's just a really funny film.
what about you, Larry? What's your favorite?
He just said Snatch.
Well, yeah.
What's your other Any
I'm in
Given
a few.
Day?
There's like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Never seen it. I've heard shit tons of good stuff.
Really?
About it.
It's pretty good. Snatch. I mean, any of the films. Train Spotting actually was one of my favorites for a long time.
Is that the one where fucking Ewan McGregor goes through the toilet?
Yep. There's and the baby crawling on the roof. That's a really good one. I like a lot of those movies. That's kind of what led me into The Transporter because of Jason Statham, and that's what initially got me into Jason Statham was Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
That monologue at the beginning of Snatch where he's like, he likes to tell people he's named after the gun. Like all that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, his friend Tommy.
Tommy.
Yeah, there's a lot of
See Jemmons.
Yeah, there's a lot of films like that I really dug, and that's why I really like the original Boondock Saints because it's kind of along the same gritty kind of movie. And I really, really like those, and those will always and forever be my favorite
film to me that's like, wow, Brad Pitt can act.
Yeah.
Like Snatch.
Yeah.
Just to see him step out of the realm of like a total,
Brad Pitt.
no, he is a total badass in Snatch, but like to play like such a quirky character out of the norm like that is just, it's fun. I didn't realize he could do that until Snatch is a film I caught when I was older. Yeah. And so I was like, wow. Yeah. I remember seeing previews for this, but weird that Brad Pitt can act like that.
Yeah, but that's an infinitely profound movie to me, and unfortunately, people are either don't know what it is, or they're like, yeah, I like Dags. Yeah, like, that's kind of it. That's really the only.
I went through a phase where I would like order food like that, like a pikey. Like I was pretty good at it too.
What'd you say?
You said you'd have shite.
Oh god.
I just remember the fucking that line. If I win, I get a caravan and a pair of them shoes, because they're like fucking standing in the mud, and Jason Statham's got fucking bags over his shoes. Mm. Shit kills me. What's the guy that plays Bullet Tooth Tony? Mm-hmm. He's like a famous soccer player.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He fucking, I didn't know that either. He was on Conan O'Brien the other night.
Two little pussy faggot balls?
Yeah. He fucking brought Conan O'Brien a penis pump. So weird, but yeah, they were...
He's in Midnight Meat Train.
Yeah, he is. That's a fucking solid film, too.
Yeah, it really is.
That's a good Bradley Cooper moment, too.
Yep, sure is. Leslie Bibb.
There's a picture of the guy that played Bullet Tooth Tony, like a famous picture from when he played soccer, of like some guy on the opposing team really pissed him off. And there's a picture of him just fucking hand grabbing this guy's sack. And the guy's like, and like the picture's just like him casually like, fuck you. Like, what a badass in real life. I can totally see why they made him a character named Bullet Tooth Tony.
I'm probably going to catch a lot of flack because, you already...
Was it Frankie Four Fingers?
Frankie Benicio del Toro?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I always wanted... Frankie Four Fingers was
Tyrone is my favorite.
But I really wanted to make a band named after like a weird mobster name. And I was like, can we just call ourselves Bullet Tooth Tony? It just didn't have a ring. We ended up going with Nick Naylor, which sounds like a mobster name, but it's just that guy from Thank You for Smoking, which is not as cool, but it sounded good. Whatever. So...
You've already... In our last episode, you shied me on my movie titles that I like. But probably I have to say my favorite movie of all time is Apocalypto, the Mel Gibson film about the Mayans.
Never watched it. I was over him for that time period. I was like, it's just... him trying to cash in on the shock of fucking... What was that? Passion of the Christ?
God.
Has anybody ever watched Apocalypto?
No.
No, I worked at the theater when that movie came out. Watched Perfume. Didn't watch Apocalypto. Isn't it just about Mayans? And they kill each other?
It is. But...
And the Jews. Is that what happens?
I'm a history guy. That's probably why I like Sleepy Hollow so much. Is like Larry, I like the historical aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And that's why the Assassin's Creed series has always been my favorite video game, because it takes real history and puts a twist on it.
It actually is a really good game. I don't play it. I've played it for bits and pieces, but I refuse to start because I know I will get really addicted to it.
I feel like it's really convoluted, and you do the same thing over and over again. But that's my only beef with
assassinate people.
I wasn't trying to go off on the Assassin's Creed tangent. I was just throwing it out.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what I was saying is Apocalypto is so true in its historical nature that it's like watching a living history film, and it's really, really cool. I mean, they speak Mayan. Mm-hmm. They brought back the dead language, and they speak Mayan.
You're like a new age grandpa.
I'm the old man on the show. What can I say? Even though I'm only a year older than Larry.
Do you watch like Hondo every Thanksgiving while you fall asleep with a turkey leg in your lap?
No.
Yes. Is that like fucking Grandpa Brad's watching his John Wayne movies again? Pardon me, John Wayne stories again.
Yeah.
But
sorry, Brad.
I'm accustomed to getting made fun of on the show. It's fine. But you asked me my favorite movie of all time.
I heard good things. It was critically acclaimed.
It's really, really worth it. Really worth it.
I wonder what Corey's favorite movie is.
Ghostbusters.
I can see
It
that.
yeah, I would buy that.
Ghostbusters.
Since he
or-
called it the best two film series in history when we talked about Ghostbusters last time.
That's a weird. I mean, it's a good movie.
It's got such a weird cult following right now.
Yeah, and I really enjoy
Honestly,
it.
I don't like Ghostbusters. That's
We
me.
were talking about sword fights with Ichabod Crane earlier. I'm going to bring it back into Supernatural, kind of, or not Supernatural,
Say it.
Sleepy Hollow for a second.
Supernatural, Salem, Sleepy Hollow. How do you
sorry.
mix those up?
I don't fucking whatever. My favorite, I'm ashamed. I meant to apologize this on our sci-fi episode. I didn't mention one of my favorite sci-fi things in the world. And it also has my favorite sword fight duel from anything else. But Firefly, I never mentioned that. I don't know. Have you guys ever watched
Yeah,
Firefly?
no, I know of it. I'm not a fan.
Why not?
I just don't. It just never grabbed me. I tried and tried and tried.
I guess
I grew up on westerns because that's what my dad liked to watch.
Yeah.
And like space western, I was like, sign me the fuck up. I just really like the whole we aim to misbehave thing.
Yeah. The other one before we move on, I forgot to mention this, was Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir
the other
Dogs
one.
is really, really
I
good.
can't hear Stuck in the Middle without thinking of that
Yeah.
scene.
Yep.
Carrie's never seen that. My girlfriend's never
Really?
seen Reservoir Dogs.
Really? That's
And I keep meaning to show it to her.
Yeah.
It's just like most of the movie's just one guy torturing another guy.
yeah.
But it's just fucking awesome. I don't know how else to
I
describe
know. That's one of the other. I lump those all kind of together. They're all kind of the same vibe.
I just feel like if you put Tim Roth in a movie, it's going to be excellent.
Mhm.
And he's just in the background, like dying the whole movie.
Yeah.
So weird. He's a good actor, though. Did you guys ever watch Lie to Me?
I watched
Yes.
a little bit.
Yes,
here
I
and there.
did, and I loved the shit out of that show. I was way too obsessed with that show,
I
and
keep
it wasn't that good. but I
Really
loved
waiting
it.
for them to bring him back into the Marvel movies
Yeah.
because he's the Abomination.
Oh.
Really waiting for it. Sorry, we've gone way off topic, but I feel like we've had good conversations.
That's
I'm not
fine.
Mad. Not mad. I need to go eat dinner.
But
Just throwing that out there.
let's if you had one other film that you would put at the top of your list, what would it be?
Back to
we'll
the Future.
we'll end on these.
Back to the Future, hands down.
Really?
I feel like
I like it. It just it's just not up there as far as I don't know. I just don't see it being up that high on the list.
I'm going to get made fun of so bad again for this, but my second favorite movie of all time,
Girls.
Romancing the Stone. Have you never seen it?
the pumice stone. What is
Romancing the Stone.
Never seen it.
Never- oh my
never
goodness.
even
No.
heard of it.
It's
What
an
is it?
'80s film. It's got Danny DeVito. It's got Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner.
Reminds me.
Basically, Kathleen Turner is a romance novelist, and
Danny DeVito is her squeeze.
no, he's it's awesome.
I just imagine somebody.
Every time I think of
Squeezing
Danny
DeVito.
DeVito now, I think of him cutting himself out of that leather couch, and it's always sunny.
Oh my god, yeah. It's
Like,
really
I
hard to take him
always-
serious
I
now.
always just picture
All right.
naked Danny DeVito jumping out of a couch.
All right, so real quick, Romancing the Stone. It's got come back, Jared.
Sorry, that scene. Okay, I'll let you go on.
All right, so I actually found this movie the first in Spanish class in high school because it takes place in Colombia, South America. So they speak some Spanish in the movie, and Kathleen Turner plays a romance novelist. So she's lonely, blah blah blah. Her sister, his husband is murdered, and she sends a treasure map to Kathleen Turner and saying you have to bring the map to Colombia or else I'm gonna die. What's so fun? Anyway,
I can't stop thinking about It's Always Sunny. I'm sorry.
anyway.
So fucking weird in that show.
Danny DeVito and his cousin are after the same jewel, this emerald that is leading to the treasure map. So they're the ones that have kidnapped Kathleen Turner's sister. Well, Michael Douglas, she goes to South America completely unprepared. She's in high heels. She doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't speak Spanish. And there's a military leader who knows she's got the map, and he puts her on the wrong
Is
bus
it
on
Danny
purpose.
DeVito?
No.
God, where's Danny DeVito?
I told you, he's a
attention.
He's a kidnapper.
Okay.
But anyway, he is the comic relief in the movie.
He's barely as big as a kid. Oh, go
There's
on.
a scene where
How can he nap one?
There's a scene where he's running down this hill, and they're driving behind him in their car, and he's just shooting his gun over his shoulder. It is the funniest thing. But that movie's got action,
Romancing the Stone.
Yeah, it's got action.
Check that out.
It's got adventure. It's got comedy. It's got romance. It's got, they go to this. They're hiding. They're trying to. Michael Douglas is just this. He collects rare birds from South America and then ships them to the United States because he just wants to raise enough money to buy a sailboat, and he ends up being a reluctant guide to Kathleen Turner. They fall in love. He's sort of the embodiment of all her romance character hero, novelist hero characters. And there's a scene where I'm sorry,
I just can't stop thinking of Danny DeVito. He's such a weird guy.
But no, he is. But they're at this. They're running from these people, and they find this. They go to this drug cartel, like this gangster's house, and Michael Douglas is like, let me handle it. Don't worry, I'll just talk. And they're trying to find a vehicle to get out and to get away from everybody. And he knocks on the door, and all these henchmen with guns are like staring at him. And the guy opens the door, and he shuts it in his face. And Michael Douglas mentions Joan Wilder, which is Kathleen Turner's character. And all of a sudden, this drug lord has read all of her books and is like his favorite author. So he ends up giving them. They're looking for a donkey, and he has a thing named Pepe, and it's this big supercharged truck. And like, it's just ridiculous.
Oh.
It's just ridiculous. It's from the 80s. You should definitely watch it.
Speaking of like my favorite Danny DeVito films, though, have you guys ever seen Screwed?
No.
He's like in it as he plays a mortician, but the main premise is Norm Macdonald and Dave Chappelle are like, Norm Macdonald's a butler, like he inherited this butler position from his dad, and like one of the main story plots is he became a butler because like he got his dad's, one of the last things his dad left him was a letter that said, work for Mrs. So-and-so, you'll get ahead. And it turns out like later in the story, he's like, he didn't say work for Mrs. So-and-so, you'll get ahead. It's work for Mrs. So-and-so, you'll get head. It's the dumbest movie I think I've ever watched or put any of my friends through, but Danny DeVito plays like a sleazebag mortician that like steals a dead body for him. It's a fucked up, like he faked his own kidnapping to get millions of dollars.
All right.
Yeah, anyway, you named like 3 movies, but we never gave you the official chance to go.
One more, Casino. And the reason I thought of this is I forget about Casino a lot because you said Danny DeVito, and I always think that Joe Pesci and Danny DeVito are the same person. Yeah. And they're not at all. And I know that, but in my mind, if you mention one, I immediately think of the other. So yeah, Casino is one of my favorites for sure. It's a little long, but I really enjoyed that one.
All right. Well, there's some of our favorite movies, and I think on that note, we'll go ahead and call this one an episode.
We couldn't stay on like topic if you like kidnapped our families or
No,
anything.
not at
It's
all.
bad.
It's all right. So this one's been fun.
Yes. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Check us out at returnoftheleavingpodcast.com.
Be sure to go to patreon.com/rotlp, and please, if you can spare $1, send the $1 our way. We really could use it. We got big plans, and we can't get there.
We're not above begging.
Yeah, these porn pogs aren't going to make themselves people.
That's true.
We'll have some rewards coming soon too. So the more people that donate $1, the more cooler shit we'll be able to have later. So, thanks for listening, guys. We're your hosts. I'm Jared Hell.
I'm Brad Banforth.
And I'm Larry!
Larry!
We'll catch you next time.